Welcome back to the Do Hard Things Today podcast. It's your host, Kevin Harrison and Jed Blackwell. And today we are jumping back in. Man, it's 6 months out, actually 7 months out. Everybody knows that we are big fans of Walt Disney World, big fans of Run Disney. And this is the time that everything starts cranking up for the Dopey Challenge, Walt Disney World Marathon Weekend, their crown jewel of racing in the Disney community, which is in January of 2027. And you may be wondering why we're talking about that sitting here in June of 2026. Well, now all the training and stuff's about to start up, and a lot of people in the Facebook group's been reaching out saying, "Hey, when's the first podcast going to come out this year?" We do kind of a series every year talking about those things. And so, yeah, we're gonna jump in and talk. We're gonna talk Run Disney today, and my co-host Jed Blackwell, he's got some experience with Run Disney and down there in the chaos and the environment that is everything Walt Disney World. So, Jed, it's that time.
I've got some experience at Walk Very Fast Disney.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what I did.
You set your PR down there.
I did. Well, you're right. Mm-hmm. And I've also got some experience in being support staff for a half marathoner.
Yep.
So that's pretty cool.
Two-time half marathoner.
Mm-hmm. And we hang out and watch the crazy stuff that you're doing. Most of the time too. It is. I can't imagine there's much of anything like it. It's getting to have the full experience this past time. First time was cut a little bit short by weather, so getting to have the full experience this past time was pretty special. Yeah. I can't believe it's been 6 months ago. Yep. I can't believe there are only 6 months till the next one.
Yep.
Kind of.
And me and you both blew it on the half marathon day trying to find your wife. I don't think either one of us made it to we crossed paths on the monorail.
I got back for the finish, but barely. I barely made the finish, but I did get back. I don't know how. It was.
Well, and for those of you that don't know, the half marathon runs from Epcot. Basically, you run a little bit through, and then you run all the way to Magic Kingdom, and then you run back from Magic Kingdom to Epcot, 13 miles. And there's like an hour difference in starting times. You know, you'll start. They put you in corrals, and then they send you out. Send you out by corrals. Well, I was in one of the very front corrals, and Jed's wife Bonnie was because she didn't have a proof of time. She was towards the back of the corrals, and so I finished. And then I was going to try to get back over to the Magic Kingdom and catch her coming out of at the Ticket and Transportation Center. And I think me and you, we crossed paths, and Bonnie was texting us.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Somehow we got crossed up, but I got there, and she was gone.
Yeah, I walked. When I looked at the monorail line. Yeah. And I walked to Contemporary and got on it over there instead of fighting the crowd. Yeah, where I was. Still had to go to TTC, and I think I just missed you there, and we both missed her. Yeah. So it was kind of chaotic. Yeah,
it was chaotic, but big win for her. 'Cause she was, for those of you that remember, she was a part of the year that half marathon got cut short. You remember we ran about, which is that was the worst thing in the world for her. And so many first-timers that want to go to Magic Kingdom, basically you get on the road to Magic Kingdom, and they took us about halfway down that road and then just turned us around. Yeah. So we never did make it to Magic Kingdom. I think that was the 9-miler that year, what it turned out to be.
She ended up 7.8, something like that. She was among the last people to get to run World Showcase. Yeah. People behind her were getting swept and finishing way in front of her because she was very near the cutoff, which she did get to do that, which was good.
That's right. First time in Walt Disney World Half Marathon history where we actually got to finish through World Showcase, which was you can at least say that. You know, it stunk, but you can at least say that.
And she PR'd in 7.84 miles or whatever it was.
That's right. Oh, so yeah, I mean we're right here at it. It's in June, and things are cranking up, especially for those people doing the Dopey Challenge. Yeah.
And I wanted to talk about the Dopey Challenge for a minute because that is one of the main reasons we're doing the podcast. The other runs are, of course, important, but the Dopey Challenge is what we're talking about. And this will be the 14th. Mm-hmm. And your 14th. You've done all of them. Yeah. COVID and broken toes and all manner of other things. So what's the approach to this one? Lucky 13's under your belt. So what's your approach to 14?
You know, it's interesting this year. I will probably come into this year more prepared than I have ever been because of something lucky that happened for me about a month ago. For those of you that are big runners, you know that here in America, the two biggest races by far are the Boston Marathon and New York City Marathon. And they are almost, for people like me that are age groupers that are, decent runners, but definitely not blazing fast runner, you're not going to qualify for it. I mean, you're just not. I'm never going to be fast enough to qualify for it. I mean, it's a very, very fast qualifying time. So you enter a lottery. And the lottery is almost impossible to get into. I mean, I've been putting in for it for 10 years now, never gotten in. And my daughter, Kate, and I were at a trade show, and I looked down at my phone. I was just going through my emails, and there was an email from the New York Roadrunners. And it was congratulating me that I had been selected in the lottery to enter the New York City Marathon this year. So the first Sunday of November, I'm going to be running the New York City Marathon. And I'm going all in. I'm going all in to run. I want to run the fastest marathon that I've ever run in New York. So I'm going to be putting in the training over these next, roughly 5 months to be as fast as I can. So coming off of November, off of that big marathon training block, I'm going to be in pretty good shape for the Dopey Challenge this time. And so probably I'll take a week off or so, and then just kind of come back with a block of training, preparing for the Dopey. But, the good thing is, and this is why people always ask us to do this series every year, is for all the first timers. It's such a daunting thing. The good thing is, after you've done it 13 times, and you're going into the 14th, you've kind of seen everything thrown at you. You've gone into it prepared. You've gone into it unprepared. You've seen all kind of weather. You've seen it be 97 degrees. You've seen it be 30 degrees. I mean, you've seen it all. So you're mentally, you're pretty prepared for it. You feel like, hey, if I don't get injured, I'm gonna see this thing through. But I really believe this year I may have the opportunity to have my fastest time I've ever had, because I will be in really good shape coming off the New York City Marathon.
Well, I've got 2 New York follow-up questions that lead to this. One, when we quit recording, could you enter the Masters Lottery under my name?
Yes.
I'd really like to win that.
Well, I will say this. My luck has I probably used it all up in that one. In fact, I could not believe it. And it's funny, Kate, who, she's 24. She's our oldest child. It wasn't as big of a deal. She was like, "Oh, that's cool." I'm like, "Hold on." I was like, "No." I was like, "That's really cool." I mean, and in fact, this year, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the odds of getting in that race this year with the amount more people put into the lottery than have ever put into it before, and so the odds were just exponentially against you for that. So my odds of getting lucky on anything else they're probably all gone. I used it all up at that point.
You're going to have to explain the training to me, because my next follow-up question is, it's counterintuitive to me to believe that training for an all-out fast as you can go marathon is good for you. I would think that would be the peak and would hurt you trying to bounce back for those other 3 races, but obviously that's not the case.
Yeah, well, the timing is perfect because it's November, and that's going to give me a little bit over 2 full months between that marathon. And like I said, after that marathon, I'll take a week off, and then I'll just start back on a training block. I'll probably what I'll do is jump into and we'll talk about the Disney program. Jeff Galloway's got a program that he's got out. I'll probably jump in at that point to wherever they are in that series. But I guess my point being, I will probably be at a faster point in the beginning of November than I've ever been.
Because you don't have that you've got that next 2 months, but you don't have those to ramp up for the marathon because you got to run one.
Yeah.
You got to run one right now.
Yeah.
So your training's already started.
Yes.
What does training look like for other folks who are just now starting the ramp up to Dopey.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's the biggest question we get, like on the Facebook groups. There's several Dopey Challenge Facebook groups, and I've had some people, that have messaged me asking, hey, when do I need to start training? Hey, do I just need to wait? The official Jeff Galloway, which, rest in peace, we lost Jeff Galloway this year, who is Mr. Run Disney, and he is the founder of the Run, Walk, Run method, where you run a little interval. You might run 2 minutes and walk a minute, or whatever your interval may be. But his plan starts up in July, and so people will ask, what do I need? I always tell people off the record that I feel like to really be able to go in. Now, again, you got to determine what are your goals? Are you going in trying to run this thing fast, or are you going in trying to complete this and experience the whole Dopey Challenge? If you're trying to really perform, run it fast, set some time goals and those kind of things, I think it's really good by the time July comes for you to be able to run a half marathon. Not go out and kill one, but you should be able to go out and run a half marathon and it not completely debilitate you. That puts you in a pretty good spot to be able to be training for the goals that you're going to set as far as speed goals. If you're just looking to, hey, I want to train, during July through December before the January race, and I want to be able to finish this, experience all that Run Disney has to offer, you can just jump in that July training block and just follow what it says. And if you're new, I don't think there's a better training plan out there than Jeff Galloway's plan. That's available on the Disney website for free, and you just follow it. It's got some days that you do nothing but walk, some days you walk, run, some days you run. It's got some different things in there, and I think if you do that, and again, you're consistent, because the Dopey is not something you can fake your way through. I mean, you've got to prepare to do this, or it's going to be a miserable experience, especially when that Sunday marathon hits.
During her half this past year, Bonnie got in some traffic and got some folks she couldn't get around, and a lot of them were Jeff Galloway runners, and there was a pacing group.
Yep.
So she just ran with them. She just decided to do what they were doing, and it led to that PR.
Yep.
To hear her tell it's really, really beneficial, and I've heard both of y'all talk about it so much that it's got to be.
It is, and they have the pacing groups that you can sign up for before but a lot of people do what Bonnie did. She didn't sign up for the group, but she was running, and she was around one of those groups, and just jumped in with them.
Just ran with them. Yeah.
And then they'll call out running in 3, 2, 1, and then they take off running. And then the pacers will say walking in 3, 2, 1, and then they'll walk and do their walk break. I mean, that's one of those things you got to decide whether you want to be with a pacing group or not. But that's a really good option for a lot of people, and they're all time based. So it'll be like for the half marathon, I think they start at 1:30 and go all the way up to like 3 hours for a half marathon. They have pacing groups, and you just get in them with the crowd, and you just follow along.
Well, as we're talking about having to log all these miles and do all this training, the good news is it's going to be 100 degrees next week. So we're at the absolute hot. Well, we're not at the hottest part of the year yet. It's going to get worse.
Yeah.
But the time that folks need to be logging these miles is going to be June, July, and August when it is as hot as it's going to be. How do you combat that?
Yeah, it is hard. We're in the upstate of South. We're halfway between Charlotte and Atlanta is where we record out of, which it is brutally hot. I mean, it is super, super hot here. Hot and humid. That's why we laugh around here. It's like, hey, it's hot, but at least it's humid.
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
hair you can wear.
Yeah. I mean, it's brutal. I ran yesterday, and it wasn't one of the hottest days we had. It's like 85 degrees, but the humidity was, I got done, and I was wringing wet. I mean, every stitch of fabric I had on my body was just soaking wet, and it was a 5-mile run. So it's not like I was out there for a long, long time. Well, you've you have to manage running in the heat. And we got Coach Stephanie Morgan coming on in a couple of podcasts down the road. We're going to specifically talk about running in the heat. How do you manage those things? Number one is staying hydrated with electrolytes, no matter what your electrolyte drink of choice is. I'll say this: Gatorade and Powerade, don't cut it. Now, Gatorade's come out with some new things. I think it's Gator Light.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it's got more electrolytes in it. At least go with something like that. Liquid IVs are good. In fact, you brought me one. You'd gone to the gas station and you brought me a liquid IV. They've got about 500 milligrams of sodium. I love Element LMNT. It's got 1,000 milligrams of sodium in it. I'm a big time sweater and salty sweater. How do you know if you're a salty sweater? Wear a dark shirt one day and go run when it's hot, and then look and you'll see all this white stuff on you. That's salt that you're putting out. It's not enough just to drink water. You've got to take an electrolyte. So keep yourself hydrated. As much as you might not want to do it, get up in the morning and run early, because you may have around here we'll have a 30-degree difference between if you want to run in the morning or if you decided to run on up in the afternoon or late afternoon when it's super, super hot. Just take care of yourself. And then if you do have to find yourself out there, sometimes we just do. We have to be out in the middle of the heat. Manage that. Cut your pace down. If you're a 9-minute mile person, 10-minute mile person, whatever you are, go ahead and add another minute or two onto that and just get your miles in on those days where it's really, really hot. The problem with the heat is it'll suck the life out of you. If you go out there and run and maybe you're just going to tough it out, you're like, man, I didn't get my run in this morning. I got to get it in. I got an 8-miler on my thing, so I'm going to go run it at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And it's 90 degrees, 90% humidity. Yeah, you may claw your way through that run, but, man, it's going to wreck you for 2 or 3 days because you're just going to be completely depleted. And so, you have to manage those things. Stay hydrated. Do it early if you can. And then if you do have to do it in the heat, just back it down. Back that pace down.
Embrace the fact that it's going to be awful and do everything you can to make it less awful. It's not going to be great. It's going to be hot and wet and miserable. Yeah. But make it less of those things if you can. Yeah,
and the good thing about running in the middle of the summer is it's not going to be that hot. Now, we've had some hot days at Dopey. Well, this will be 14th. This will be my 14th Dopey. So that'll be 56 races that I've done during the Dopey Challenge between the 4 races, 14 years. Like I said, I've seen it be 30 degrees. I've got a picture of one where I've got on one of those dry fit black shirts and I'm sweating. And the sweat would come to and it was on top of that black shirt, and it frosted up.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, I've got that picture. And then there's been other ones where there's been several half marathons that have been cut short because of the heat, because it gets so now. Some of us jokingly, like this past year, it got cut short. For the people that were in the very back, they cut a couple of miles out of it because it was heating up. For those of us that live in areas like we live in, we're like, man, it's in the low to mid 80s. That ain't that hot. But for people, you think about people coming from Chicago. Think about people coming from in the Northeast or Northwest. People come from all over the world to do these races. If they've been training and it's always been 60 degrees, or 50 degrees or whatever it may be, well, then you throw them out there in the mid 80s. It's like a sauna for them. So, but generally, if you're running in the summer and dealing with that heat, that's going to help you, because whenever it cools down, it's amazing. Gosh, whenever we get over into like September, October, and those temperatures really start coming down, it's amazing how your performance, if you've been consistent, putting in the time in dealing with the humidity and the heat and other things, when September, October comes and that temperature comes down, it's like you've been given a shot of adrenaline, and it's like, wow, man, I'm 20 seconds a minute faster, and I'm not really doing anything different. Well, it's because it's cooler, and so it's almost like an unfair boost. It's almost like running when people go and train in altitude. They'll go train in altitude, which is much harder. Can't run as fast, do those things, but then whenever they come back to regular altitude, they're just faster because their body's taking in more oxygen and it's being more efficient with it. Same thing with the heat.
Well, since we're talking about the cooler months and that little boost of adrenaline, I know the 2 years she's done the half, Bonnie has run the turkey trot on Thanksgiving morning. You're taking a different tactic and running the New York City Marathon. Those are two completely different things, but they're the same thing. They're a spot toward the 2/3 mark of your training where you can get a benchmark. How important is it to have a little mini goal like that?
I think it's really important because it's a long time. We're recording in June. It's June the 9th when we're recording this. You'll probably be hearing this sometime in the middle of June, but it's the beginning of June, and we're talking about starting training for a race that is in January of 2027. That can be very overwhelming. It can make you do a couple of things. It can make you miss workouts. It can make you, because you're like, hey, well, I got 6 more months. Mm-hmm. Not a big deal if I miss this workout. And then it happens again the next week and the next week and the next week. Whereas if you, like for me this year, I know right now I'm in June. I know, okay, Kevin, you've got, roughly 5 months before this huge race that I am intending to go out and PR on a marathon. That's my goal. Well, I can't miss a workout. I can't afford to miss a workout to be able to reach that. Well, you push that 2 months more out, it's a little bit easier to do that. Like you were saying with Bonnie in the turkey trot, 5 mile race. Well, leading up to a half marathon, that forces you to at least be ready for, hey, I need to be able to go out and run this. Right. I always encourage people, have some kind of race in the fall to be able to point to be able to say, hey, okay, I got this measuring mark. It does a couple of things. It's going to point out either, man, I'm severely undertrained, I need to step it up, or it's just a confirmation of the training that you've been putting in. And sometimes we just need that little pat on the back that says, hey, man, I just went out here and killed this turkey trot, or I just went out here and killed this half marathon, killed this full marathon. My training is paying off. I'm going to keep going.
How do you kind of throttle that training to keep injuries at bay as best you can?
Yeah, that's why I think if you're a beginner, or maybe this is your second time at it, and you're not somebody that's going out there to try to absolutely set the world on fire with your times, jump in and follow that Jeff Galloway training method. He's got walks in there. It's not overwhelming. Generally, it's going to be about 4 runs a week. It'll have some back-to-backs. What I mean by back-to-backs is you'll run. Sometimes you'll walk on Saturday, run on Sunday. Sometimes you'll have a little bit of run with both of them. If you'll follow that plan, and again, be consistent with it. Where people get in trouble is the plan starts, and I don't know. If it's a whatever, however many week plan it is. If it starts in July, you got August, September, October, November. You got 6 months. You're dealing with 26 week plan. Well, if you're completely inconsistent for 6 weeks, and then you're like, you know what? It's time for me to really get serious about this. And you jump into week 6 of the training plan, that's where you get hurt.
Right.
Because the mileage has picked up, the intensity level has picked up, and you haven't been doing what you need to do. So if you find yourself, and we'll do 3 or 4 podcasts leading up to Dopey, talking about all kind of different stuff, even how to tour the parks. We'll bring Bonnie in to do that. But you'll find yourself in a bad spot because you're trying to make up for the time that you've missed, and you just can't do that. You want to start back wherever you dropped out. That's where you want to start back and really, really lay into it at that point, because it can. That's how you can get injured. And there's all kinds of things you can do: strength training, stretching. Especially as we. Once you start doing so many of them, you find, like I started this when I was 39, had this grand idea that I was going to do 10 from 40 to 50. And here I am 14 years into it. I'm 53 years old. Well, as you're running and those kind of things, as you age, you have to take better care of your body. You got to stretch. You've got to, do the flexibility, do the strength training, make sure you're hydrating, eating right, all those things. It just, your body, you can't get away with things that a 29-year-old can get away with. And so, you know your body, you know where you are, and just make sure you're doing the things to take care of your body. That's one of the podcasts that we do leading up to it. We always do one about self-care. What are some good stretches you can do? What are some good strength training things you can do? How can you take care of your body?
Well, we've talked a little bit about mechanics, I guess. Let's talk a little bit about logistics and some of the things you got to do going around into that. One of my main questions, I've asked you this a couple of times, is why in the world would anybody put themselves through that many miles in 4 days? And I'm guessing the answer is completely different depending on who you ask, right?
It is. And that's one of the things that I encourage you right now to do before you get into the big miles of training a couple of months down the road. Really figure out what your why is. Why are you doing this? And I've heard so many stories out there. I had a lady, this was the year I had my broke toe. And I was hobbling along because I broke my toe in the half marathon. And I broke my toe this young girl came flying up behind me, and we're like a half mile from the finish at Epcot. Came flying up behind me, and I'm like, man, I ain't gonna let her. Right. I'm not gonna let her. And so I took off, and I'm like right behind her, and I literally was thinking in my mind, when we get near the finish, I'm gonna go flying by her again. Because I felt good. I was in good shape that thing, and I stepped off to the right and I went down, and my toe hit, and I broke my toe, my big toe at that. So I had to do the full marathon. I had the full marathon next day with a broke toe, and so I was hobbling along, and there was this late, and I was so frustrated the next morning. And you're sitting there, you're facing 26 miles. I'm like, is this where it ends? Is this where the streak ends? And I happened to run into this lady, and just imagine a little short lady, New Jersey, like 80 years old. And just imagine that lady, the person you're thinking about right now. That's who it is. Okay. That's who it is. And I struck up a conversation with her because she was walking, and I'm hobbling around, and I'm like, hey, what's up? And I just asked her, I was like, do you mind if I ask you? She's like, you want to know how old I am? I'm like, yeah, I want to know how old you are.
Sure do.
And she told me, and I'm like, well, what are you doing out here? And she told me, she said, 27 years ago, doctor told me, got diagnosed with breast cancer. A doctor told me I had 6 months to live. She said, I've been kicking blank ever since. And I raised my hand and I high-fived her and I said, rock on, lady. Yep. And it is, why was she out there? She was out there because she beat breast cancer 27 years before. And she had have no idea how dopey challenging. Well, she wasn't doing the dope. She was doing the marathon. But how in the world that happened? So many stories out there. People overcoming illnesses, doing it for people that have passed on in their lives. Some of them, it's just it's just that monumental challenge of, I want to go out and run a 5K on Thursday, a 10K on Friday, a half marathon on Saturday, and a full marathon on Sunday, because I want people to look at me and be like, you did what?
Right.
I mean, so there's all kind of different things, but figure out what that is, because when it gets bad and when it gets tough, and when you're questioning your choices that you've made to do this, you need to be able to back up and say, hey, this is my why. This is why I'm doing this. At this point with me, it's real simple. It's because I've done every single one of them, and we got a little perfect dopey group that and that number is shrinking every year, and we all support each other. We want each other to be successful. But we also had that thing in the back of my mind. I was like, I wonder who's not going to do it this year. I wonder who's not going to do it this year. I wonder who's going to drop out and those kind of things. And I just, it's kind of that thing of every year, that second weekend of January, if you want to know where you're going to find me, is going to be in Walt Disney World doing the Dopey Challenge.
I know we got a couple of other things that are important for folks to do right now, but I'm going to speak to one I know about the most. People should absolutely listen to you for running advice. I don't know why they would listen to a stranger on the internet about where they need to stay, but they need to listen to me when I'm about to tell them this.
Yes.
Stay on property. Stay on property.
100%.
I don't care if you're going to the parks a day. I don't care if you're going to spend an hour in the parks that you're not running through them. Stay on property and do that now.
Yeah. 100%.
You got 6 months. Yeah. You should be okay right now. Yeah. Christmas is the most popular time of the year at Disney World. This will be just in the lull after, so there will be some rooms. If you wait until August, there won't be. Yeah. If you wait until July, there might not be.
Yeah.
You'll hear this probably the week of June 15th. Probably a week after we record it is when you'll be hearing this. Stay on property and make those reservations right away. It doesn't much matter where. We were at Saratoga Springs this last time, so pretty far out. It was also almost seamless as far as getting us to and from where we needed to be, and plenty of things to eat before you got on the bus and then after you got on the bus, and hydration and everything. It was really, really wonderful, but stay on property.
Jed, if you don't hear anything else in this whole podcast,
right.
If you can, and the thing is, it doesn't matter what your budget is. There's a place on Disney property for you. And I've stayed in almost every resort during marathon weekend. I've stayed at almost every. I've stayed from the deluxe villas, which are the nicest, have the most amenities and bells and whistles and things, to the moderates, to the values. And the values are, hey, you're not paying as much money, not gonna be as many amenities, not gonna be quite as nice. Still great food there. But the main thing about marathon is transportation. And the transportation is the same everywhere. Does not matter if it's value, moderate, or deluxe.
With the hours that you have to wake up and the very specialized way that you have to get to where you're going, it would be difficult to do a Disney race not staying on property. I don't know how it wouldn't be physically impossible to do Dopey without.
Yeah, it would be. It'd be a lot. And, but there's people raising their hand right now. I was like, no, I do it there. I stay off property. I'm fine. Hey, all that's fine until it's not.
Right.
I mean, there's things can happen. You can, there's these horror stories out there of, hey, I was Ubering from a hotel. The Uber driver didn't have the right thing with all the roads that are blocked off, and I ended up somewhere and I missed the race, or I was late, or whatever that may be. Listen, it is, especially with the Dopey, it is 4 super early mornings. I mean, obviously the 48 miles is really hard, but right there with it is those 4 early wake-up calls. And I don't know about you, but when it's 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, my brain isn't working exactly right. So in the morning, if you can literally get yourself up, get whatever drinks and food and stuff, you get that stuff and get out the door and walk just right to wherever that bus is. Only thing you got to do is just find your way to that bus. Get on the bus, and next thing you know, it's dropping you off, and all you got to do is just walk to security. I've never done off property, so I can't tell you. But I've talked to several people who have, and they've never told me it's less stressful staying off property.
Right. I can't imagine how you'd even do it. So that is, if you do it now also, you'll hit that magic 120 and 60-day mark where you can make all your reservations, do all that other stuff. Yep. If you're taking your family and you're going to make it a vacation, that's another thing. If you're off property and you're having to cut your nights short to get up early, you're missing half your vacation too. Yeah. You can stay at the park an extra hour and a half if you're staying somewhere on property. Okay, so establish a training plan and find somewhere to stay. What else can you do right now to make life easier in January?
I mean, just take this thing as it is. I mean, it is, the Dopey Challenge is very, very, very manageable. Not easy. Very manageable if you will just follow the training plan. Day after day, just be consistent. but it is very unmanageable if you don't do that. I see people every year, and they are standing in the corral on Sunday morning after they've already done a 5K, 10K, and a half marathon, and they just have that look on their face like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to make this through. I'm so unprepared for this. And that makes for a long, long Sunday. And for a lot of them, it makes for a lot where they're either getting swept off the course or they take themselves off the course and don't make it. So I would just say at this point, hey, start doing what you got to do. One of the things you can do if you're at a point and you feel like, hey, it would probably help me to maybe drop 10, 15 pounds, now's the time to do that. It's extremely hard to lose weight when you get into the middle of this sounds backwards yet, but it is extremely hard to lose weight when you are right in the middle of hard marathon or dopey training or something. It just is. I don't know why that is. I guess it's because
your body doesn't want to.
Yeah, your body's holding on. It thinks something bad's happening to it. But so right now, if you need to drop 10, 15 pounds, go ahead and do that now. Work on that now. Get yourself at that weight that you want to be at, and then start getting ready for the consistency and just be consistent. If you'll just be consistent, if you will just be consistent, jump on. If you're completely clueless, some of you are coming in and you got no idea what to do. You're like, this is a great idea to sign up for this thing. So what do I do? Just download that Jeff Galloway plan that starts in July and just do what it says. Just do what it says. If you'll do that, you're going to be great. And again, like Jed said, I mean, just get that. Yeah, if you can stay on property, and that's going to remove so much anxiety during race week, because the only thing you got to do is get out of your hotel room, get on that bus, and then whenever you're done with the race, walk straight past where you get your medal and get on the bus again, and it'll drop you off back at your resort again.
All of that is fantastic advice. The Dopey Challenge is a different animal, as you've said over and over and over, but I don't think people understand it. You've got to have a way to attack it too, right? And I know there are 3 or 4 ways that you like to tell people to attack it. How early do you start thinking about the way you want to go about it?
I think it's something good to start thinking about early on, and then you can make that decision. And some of this will play right into the fact of, okay, what are you wanting to do in the fall? Are you going to have a half marathon that you're going to run in the fall? Or are you going to have a full marathon you're going to run in the fall? Because I think there's really 4 ways you can attack it, and we'll really flesh these out in its own podcast. But you can take the approach of, hey, it's Disney. I'm here to have a good time. You still got to train. Don't think, hey, I can just walk. But because, it's a 16-minute mile you have to keep. That's where the sweepers. The sweepers are, it's some, well, there's balloon ladies that aren't official Disney people, but they carry balloons, and they're the last starters. And from the time they start, you have basically 16 minutes per mile to finish that race. And you may be thinking, well, I can walk a 16-minute mile right now, so I'll be fine. Okay, fine. You probably can. But can you walk 48.6 miles, at a 16-minute pace? Probably not. So you have to, even if you're just going just to enjoy the characters, enjoy the Disney experience and those kind of things, get your training in. Just get on that Galloway plan and just get the miles in. Even if you're walking most of it, even if you're just doing the Galloway plan and you're walking everything, not running at all, that will train your body to be able to finish this and finish it. Because here's the deal. If you're sticking to that 16-minute per mile pace, you're not going to have time to enjoy a lot of the stuff. You're not going to be able to stop for characters. You're not going to be able to take all these scenes in. You're not going to be able to get a lot of pictures because you're going to be looking behind you all the time, wanting to know where those balloon ladies are. How close are they? And you're going to have no buffer. So that kind of, hey, I'm here for the party, still got to train. The second one is, you can kind of take this is the one I think is the worst one of all of them, is run every race as hard as you can. Thursday, you get out there and it's like you're at your local 5K and you're going to try to PR it. Friday, you're going to do the same. And I've seen people have done this. I've never done this one. Well, I know people have done this. 10K on Friday, you do that. All fine. Probably have 2 good days. You've run 2 fast races. You're feeling good about yourself. You set up at the line on Saturday. And you're like, you know what? I'm going to go attack this half marathon. And everything's great. You run from Epcot to Magic Kingdom. You're still feeling strong. You're on the way back from Magic Kingdom to Epcot, get to about mile 9 or 10, and a big old gorilla crawls up on your back. And when that big old gorilla crawls up on your back, Jed, there's really no turning back. I mean, at that point, your legs, all your lactic acid's built up, the soreness is there, all that. And then you'll finish that half marathon, probably struggling a little bit, slowing way down, probably doing a lot of walking. And, buddy, when you wake up Sunday morning for that marathon, you're on the struggle bus. In fact, you're probably driving the struggle bus at that point. That makes for a long, long, long Sunday. So that's another one. The third and fourth one are the ones I think are the most effective. And it's either picking out the half marathon or it's picking out the full marathon and letting that be your race you're going to attack. This year, probably since I'm doing New York for the first time, I've done this one other time. I'm probably going to choose that marathon as, okay, I'm going to try to focus everything towards the marathon. What that means is I'll probably run the 5K just at a kind of a tempo pace, not all out, but pretty fast pace. 10K, I'll probably do the same thing, run kind of a tempo pace, not out there killing myself. Then the half marathon day, I'm going to take it real, real easy. Walk a ton. Stop for the characters. Take everything in. Just really almost use it as this is just pure recovery. I'm walking and I'm just having a good time out there because I want to be ready for Sunday. The flip of that, and then on Sunday, you get there, and you're still going to be tired. You're still going to have all those things, but you will be in a little bit better spot to go attack that full marathon. Likewise, if you take the other approach of the half marathon, which I would say probably most people that do the Dopey, if they're going to pick out a race, it's going to be the half marathon. And so they'll, 5K, you kind of run it as a shakeout run. 10K day, you're kind of same thing, kind of taking it as a shakeout where you're taking it kind of easy, maybe just walk in a good bit, and then you line up on Saturday feeling pretty good, and you go and attack that half marathon, and you run it as hard as you can, and usually you can go get a really good time with that. Now that makes for Sunday, you're really sore, because generally after the day you run a hard half marathon, you're taking that day off. And you're taking a couple of days off and then slowly getting back into it, but you're facing a full marathon. You just have to understand that on that Sunday, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be taking it easy. You're going to be walking a good bit. That's the time to stop at the character stops, get your pictures, do all those kind of just enjoy the experience. It's almost a victory lap of celebrating the awesomeness of what you did on your half marathon. We'll go into these a lot more in later podcasts, but I think be thinking about those 4 things. What's the strategy I'm going to take?
And I know Disney does some virtual stuff.
Yep.
Any benefit to doing some of those?
Just if you want to. I mean, it's an expensive virtual race. I'll say that. And what the virtuals are is it's where you sign up and you have X amount of time in between these dates to do a half marathon or whatever that may be. I think it's better if you can find a good local race. And again, that supports the local races too. And again, you get the energy of being in a race. There's something about the energy of being around other people too that helps, kind of helps you get ready for what you got ahead of you.
So come up with a plan, find somewhere to stay, and be consistent. That's what we need to be doing right now.
Be consistent. And I'm telling you all the way through, if you'll be consistent, you're going to be shocked at what your body will do and how it will respond to the training you're going to put in front of it.
All right. Well, you getting excited?
I am. Number 14, and then we've got you hate to look ahead. You never want to look ahead, but every 5 years is when they have different things, and so we're thinking. There's a couple of them I stay in contact with, a couple of other perfects, and we think that number 15 there's going to be a big drop off. there'll probably be a lot of people say, hey, you know what, I'm going to make it to 15 and I'm going to stop. We're hoping that happens anyway. I mean, you know, at some point it's like you're gonna look around. It's like, come on, man, will you please give up? So I can be the only one left. But yeah, I mean, I am looking forward to it. It's something that it's weird this year because I've always got that big thing hanging out there in January. But getting lucky and getting in New York this year for November, it's kind of like all my focus is on New York for November, and then once that's done. Then it's going to be weird because, well, I was talking about the training. And, yeah, I definitely want to say this before we get off. That, yeah, what happens in the end of November?
Thanksgiving.
What happens in December?
Christmas.
What happens at the end of December?
New Year's Eve.
Okay. Are those things like big surprises?
No, you know they're coming.
They're coming.
Right.
And I don't know about you, but once Thanksgiving gets here, stuff starts. It's like a bomb goes off, and it's real hard from Thanksgiving to New Year's. It's real hard to get your training in consistently. It just is. I'm just telling you from experience. It's hard during that month. Try to be ready by Thanksgiving where you could go do the Dopey in Thanksgiving if you had to. Now, I know I'm not saying get ahead of your training. I'm saying be so consistent, such a dog about getting your runs in that when you get to Thanksgiving, if during that month of December you miss a couple of I'm not telling you to miss the training things. More likely you're going to, where if you miss them, it's not going to completely throw you off and make your experience be a bad one. But yeah, I'm fired up about it. It's gonna be weird this year, coming off of such a big thing in New York, and then taking a week off, and then jumping back in, and then bam, it's like it's all gonna run together because you got that November race, and then it's like Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, bam, we're in Disney doing the Dopey Challenge. And so really looking forward to it. We will be it's going to be a fun year this year training for New York and then for the Dopey Challenge.
That is awesome. I can't wait to hear the progress. Particularly New York. I'm excited for you about that. I know that's a huge deal. And like you said, we're going to have a couple more of these Dopey Challenge podcasts. So until then, what are you telling everybody?
Oh, I'm telling everybody this, that you're going to hear this about the middle of June. Go ahead and start doing something. If you're not doing anything, go ahead and start doing something. Even if you're just walking 3 or 4 days a week, dial that nutrition in. If you need to drop a couple pounds, now's the time to drop a couple pounds. We're going to have a running coach on, and she'll be sharing some things in a couple of weeks of some good things you can do for mobility and stretching and self-care, that kind of thing that'll help you along your way as well. And then, man, when July gets here, just jump into that plan and just be consistent. God, if I could say just consistent. If you will just stay consistent, get your time in on the feet, and then you'll be really surprised at the results you see and how quickly your body will start to adapt to this training. And man, I just, once it starts, like we end every podcast, and this is so true with the Dopey Challenge. Do the hard things today, and tomorrow will take care of itself.